Hey everybody, it is me, old Dr. Warren, for, another episode of the show. This time, we're going to be talking about the much awaited for, was it Mago 7, the ABC stabilized oxygen, and our ABC fiber. So, it's been a while, of course, like a month, and lots of good stuff because one, I had this conference to do, took a trip out to California, and with that, well, of course, there's lots of junk that you eat on the road. Sometimes you don't take your supplements properly, and this, that, and the other, and well, you're going to need a little bit of cleansing. So we've got to add a little bit more, if you will, real life to our cleanse. Let's really see what happens when you get hit with some junk that you don't normally eat, maybe even a little GMO. We're going to talk about that really soon. But other stuff that you might be interested in, I know this isn't really health, this was just some extracurricular, I guess, but if you're interested in the ancient aliens and other strange archaeological anomalies, there is this conference that I did, which is the Elongated Skulls Conference with L.A. Marzulli. I was really honored to be a speaker there to talk about the skull. And of course, I'm the neck guy, so I'm there to do, you know what, talk about some necks. So this is the book. There's gonna be the back, and there's my ugly face right down there in the corner. And these guys will be coming out, I wanna say, maybe a month or a little less, if I'm correct. They should be coming from the printer then, if anybody's interested in those. Well, other than that, let's talk about the cleanse. All right, let's get started with the magnesium. So, the Mago 7, the stabilized, no, I'm sorry, what I told you was similar to oxy powder. The Mago 7 is the ABC ozonated magnesium oxygen. Very similar to oxy powder. There's also one other product out there. If a lot of you guys are very familiar with this type of cleansing using ozone, there's one older product called Hamazon. That stuff's really amazing, but if I am correct, they're not making it anymore. Several people have told me that they're not making it, and it's very difficult to find if you can find it. But it is ozonated magnesium, and that was probably the strongest ozonated magnesium that I had seen on the market, and it came in a blue tube. Really good stuff. Well, since we can't find that anymore, there's Global Healing Center, and I love them because all of their stuff is top notch. They have the best warranty in the industry, just incredible stuff. And they have what they call oxy powder. It's ozonated magnesium, cleanse your guts, right? The scrubbing bubbles kind of thing. And well, I found another one here that's right here in Georgia, easy to get, right there on the shelf. Because the trick with Global Healing Center, I absolutely love them, nothing against them. It's just a problem that if you order anything from Texas, it takes 100 years to get it. Even if you do the 3-day select or whatever they have, if they have that option to do 3-day select, and then there's some other options where you can get it even in 2-day, and it doesn't happen. Just for whatever reason, shipping between those 2 points, you're not going to get your stuff very fast. And also if you're trying to get something from California. So it's better if the things were right here on the shelf. And that's what's so fantastic about this. It's maybe just a touch, just slightly less powerful than the oxy powder. So on the big scale of things, if we could get Hamazon, I would recommend Hamazon. That's the most concentrated. Then there's oxy powder, and then we have our ABC. Now, how this works, if you're not familiar with it, is scrubbing bubbles. Like I was talking about in the introduction review, scrubbing bubbles, just like the commercial, you spray the stuff in your tub, all the little bubbles go to work, just taking all the junk out, right? Well, imagine the same thing inside your intestinal tract. And what's so important about this is we're not just doing the colon, we're doing the small intestine also. And that's what is not cleansed enough. Because Everyone wants to do a colon cleanse. It's very important to keep your colon clean, but the small intestine is very important. I mean, it's small, but it's very long. Most of your absorption, all the real activity happens there. The colon, it's there. It does some important stuff, but it's not as important as the small intestine. Your small intestine is going to populate your colon. So whatever problems you're having in your small intestine, you're going to have in the colon. So you clean the colon all day, every day. If you have not fixed the small intestine, guess what? You keep putting those same problems back because whatever starts at the top has to go through the small. From the small, it has to get to the large. So that's why using the scrub and bubbles technique is way better. It's probably the best way to go to put some stabilized oxygen in your system. And that's why I call this scrubbing bubbles technique. Please do not go and put the cleanser in your mouth. That will kill you. So if we get our magnesium, I was going to say scrubbing bubbles, but I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea out there and go, no, don't do that. Use the oxy powder, the Mago 7, or if we could ever find a Hamazon, and in this case we're talking about the Mago 7. The Mago 7, let's do application now, because I've used it many times, and so I can tell you, oh, it's great, blah, 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 but let's find out what happens in the real world, and that's where we get into the road trip. So we did the road trip, we got there, ate pretty good on the way over. Well, there, seeing family, whatnot. Well, you eat junk. From time to time, it just slips in. It just slips in. I believe that probably the worst junk out there, even when you're not eating junk, is the potato, if it can find you. A lot of those guys are GMO. The GM potato is probably one of the greatest threats because it just sits there looking all innocent and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know a GM potato from a non-GM potato unless they tell you. So if you eat it, unfortunately, and I guess you could say fortunately, when you get your body pretty clean, some of us can actually feel some of the effects of certain things. You're not going to feel, I almost dropped my little thing here. You're not going to feel a GMO. You're not going to taste it or anything. There's not really a difference. Sometimes there are reactions that your body can have to certain toxins that are produced by certain GMs, because they're all genetically modified to do different things. But most often for me, I immediately just get puffy. I just blow up. So my body is having like a huge shock from whatever this is, and I get very puffy all over. So that's one of the things I notice. Also, when I'm eating something that I shouldn't, my throat gets very scratchy. Almost it feels like it's swelling on the inside. So for me, those are my signs, and I immediately stop what I'm eating and then go, oh no, what happened? And then have to worry about how to cleanse. Now, what I'm saying, don't allow it to make you think that you're gonna eat GM and it's gonna come out your system just like that. Not gonna happen. Once it goes into your blood. Once it's in your blood, it's in your system. It's going to be in your cells. It's in your cells. You have to wait for the cells to turn over. It takes a long time. Can you detox cells? Yes. But can you guarantee that you get all the junk out of there? No. That's why it's safest to only eat food that you prepare so you know what's in it. That is absolutely imperative. Because if you do not have control over your food, what do you actually have control over? Because your food's everything. So control your food, just like you control your transportation, your time, your life. Your food is just as important. So make sure you have control over that. So I got the GM in me, and of course had to start to get it out, because the longer it sits in there, the more of it you're going to absorb, because that's what the intestinal tract is there for, to absorb. So that's when the magnesium comes in. So I start with my magnesium. Take a couple of the capsules and go to sleep. Always want to take it at night, right before bed. Let it work while you're sleeping. So I went to bed feeling a little funny, scratchy throat, kind of puffy. And by morning, well, a lot of the inflammation had gone down. Nice. A A lot of it gone down, the throat thing had gone away, whatnot. Started feeling a lot better. So okay, went on day 2, day 3, boom, everything was back to normal. Now again, I'm saying that this is not saying that the GMO is gone. It's in my bloodstream. I am not telling you that you are going to get it out of your body just that easy. It's a complex process, but you can definitely get the large material out as fast as possible so it doesn't break down and put more of it into your system. That's why it's so important to clean the streets, sweep the streets. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a chemical cleanse of the streets, okay? Because the ozone, well, once it gets into your guts, mixes with some juices, it kind of got ozonated water, ozonated fluids in there, right? So that's just going to go through and melt all the garbage and push it out. Now let's get to the next step. We found one way to do a deep cleanse, right? We use ozone to get a lot of cleansing. So if you want to be really, really, let's say, thorough with the cleansing, what do you want to do after that? Well, you want to sweep up. Well, that's where the fiber comes in. And fiber is a very, very contentious topic. Don't yell at me. I know some people are like, I know where you're going to go. No, I don't want to do too much fiber. The problem is we are not goats. We are not ruminants. We're not deer. We're not cow. We're not goats. You can't eat this much fiber. You cannot eat that much raw material, or let's just say cellulose, without having a system made to break down the cellulose. And anything that does the breakdown is called an ACE. It's an ACE of doing stuff. So in this case, we're talking about an enzyme. We want a cellulase. The cellulase is the ACE at breaking down cellulose. Cellulose is plant fiber. That's all that is. So if you put too much through your system, just way too much of the fiber, raw fiber, you start to wear down the walls of the intestinal tract. So you get it too clean, and then you can open yourself up to situations like leaky gut, I mean, it takes a little bit more. This is a very basic, primitive explanation, but you can overdo the fiber. And that's because, again, we don't have enough cellulase. Now, can you build your cellulase levels up? Yes, you need to. Most of our enzyme levels are depleted. I'm going to talk about that in the digestion video, because the next step is we're in the stomach, and I have to talk about what happens in the stomach, and from there, where everything else goes. So you can build those up, but you're not going to build them up to the level of a goat. You're not a goat. Not going to happen. You don't have separate chambers. Those dudes, they have extra chambers with like bacteria that sit there and just excrete cellulase. And that cellulase goes out and it breaks down the cellulose. Then they cough it back up and they chew it again and then they swallow it again. And that's just not socially acceptable. So we don't do that. Now, for that reason, we're not able to break all that down, so you shouldn't put all that through your system. If you put it all through your system, you'll wear your system down, and bad things can happen. So, should you put fiber in your system? Yes, if you don't have fiber in your system, you're setting yourself up for even worse problems, because then you have backup, things get dirty, you can get diverticula, you have all kinds of problems. Now, with the fiber, if we get our fiber to the middle of the road, we're not fiber extreme, we're not no fiber, we're decent amount, we're okay. So that's why I'm okay with a little bit of psyllium husk sometime. And that's what this guy has. So that was a big explanation for the fiber thing, because a lot of you guys know that when we're talking, and we're talking about going raw, like doing raw food thing and whatnot, I'm not completely against it. I like it. But I will tell you, don't do it forever. It's not to be done forever. And that's because of this. So that's something that we talk about on the sides and whatnot. And I just wanted to make sure I got that into a video. Now, let's talk about the individual little pieces of this fiber and why I like it. So I put a couple little notes down here of all the parts. So the first thing we're going to talk about is licorice root. All right, now this is the ABC cleanse, they're fiber cleanse. Okay, it oxygenates the colon also, or let's just say the GI tract, because there's a lot more there than just the colon. He's only 3 feet long, small intestine's 28. There's a lot going on. So this oxygenates the tract. So the first thing we got in there is licorice powder. Now, the thing about licorice powder that's really, really cool is that they're all anti-inflammatories, okay? Everybody here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all anti-inflammatory. All right, this guy is going to help with blood sugar. Licorice root is really nice for blood sugar and stomach ulcers. Another place where I used it was on my mom, and she's recovering from diabetes, and it's been a while. She's off meds, all this kind of stuff, and just monitors it. And she calls me up one day after putting her on this and says, "Hey, does this lower blood sugar?" I said, "No, why?" She says, "Well, my blood sugar's been a little bit lower, just a touch, for the past couple of days since I've been taking it when I monitor it in the morning." Oh. Well, I turn over the canister, and there we go, right there in her face. We got the licorice root. Helps with blood sugar. Now, for those of us who have ulcers in our stomach system, little erosions in our stomach system, licorice root is nice for that. All right, so that's licorice root there. He's an anti-inflammatory. He's going to help the inflammation in your system. He's going to help the inflammation in your stomach system, and he's going to help with ulcers and blood sugar. Now, our next one is going to be Pau d'Arco. He is a really, really cool one. There is so much stuff out there on Pau d'Arco. This is only scratching the surface, just a touch, okay? Now, something else that I found out that was really cool that I already knew, but Dr. Axe brought it up, it's that Pau d'Arco is nice for candida. So, a lot of us out there that are suffering with candida, yeast in our systems, Pau d'Arco may be something that you want to look at. Either in this cleanse, I love this cleanse because, again, this is the physical sweeping of the streets. We just did the chemical washing of the streets with I always call it oxy powder, with the Mago 7. So we do an ozone wash, then we go through and we do a physical little scrub, and that's what this is doing. So we get it really, really clean. So again, Pau d'Arco is fantastic for fungus, and I knew that, but Dr. Axe specifically came out and said it's really good for candida, and he goes off and talks about some other things. So catch up to Dr. Axe, because he showed me some new stuff there with that part of Pau d'Arco. Now, another thing with Pau d'Arco is that it's an antiviral. And of course, all these guys are anti-inflammatories, but he is an antiviral. That is a very powerful thing. There's few things that we find that are antiviral. And since this is flu season, wouldn't it be nice to have just a little bit of extra antiviral in the background? Because, well, if your immune system, 70% of the immune system lies in the stomach system, in your intestinal tract, wouldn't it be nice to keep it clean so it functions a little better and supply it with just a little touch of extra antiviral? I mean, if you could do anything to lessen your chances, even if maybe it's just 1%, hey, at least it's 1% less chance of getting sick. So it's really nice to have that Pau d'Arco around with its antiviral, anti-inflammatory abilities. It's also good for ulcers, and again, it does millions of things. You get on the internet and just read about this guy forever and ever and ever. Pau d'Arco is wonderful. Hibiscus. Hibiscus is great for high blood pressure. He's also anti-inflammatory and high blood pressure. So the hibiscus flower is actually used for even more than that. During some of my time in the Philippines, locals would use hibiscus for different things. I even heard about it being used in Hawaii. I forget all the different things it's used for. I just remember coming in contact with people who had knowledge of how to use the hibiscus. So it's a very important little guy, but specifically high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and of course anti-inflammatory. And it's wonderful to have everybody together that is an anti-inflammatory, because, well, if you really want to find out where sickness comes from, where disease comes from, it's inflammation. And the inflammation, a lot of the inflammation comes from our stomach system. So if you can keep this thing clean, you run a much greater chance of fighting inflammation. And if you keep your inflammation down, well, you have a pretty good chance of fighting off a lot of possible illnesses in the future. Because disease is from inflammation. And there's a whole process there. And finally I did drop it. So there's a whole process there to how that works. Stomach system goes down. The stomach is the second brain. So then as soon as you mess with the nervous system, you've thrown everything off, because the nervous system is the foundation of everything. So it's wonderful to have this guy in here who's anti-inflammatory and doing all that great stuff. Now we got two more left. We got hyoscyamus powder. I could have said that wrong. Let me dive over here and get this guy. All right, so got my handy dandy little mouse again. So hyoscyamus powder, it's going to stimulate metabolism and nutrient absorption. Now that's very important because, again, what is this thing down here? It's an absorber. That is your chief nutrient absorber. You actually have like vacuum nozzles inside your stomach system that are supposed to pick up nutrients as the food goes along the conveyor. That's really what your intestinal tract is a giant absorber that is a conveyor belt at the same time. So things get absorbed and food keeps moving as it moves on down and out when it's no longer needed, when all of the nutritional value has been taken from it. So our next one, fenugreek. He is the last one, fenugreek powder. So nice thing about fenugreek is that it has choline. And well, choline is really nice for the brain. And if you want to do anti-aging, we again have to start in the stomach because aging is because of inflammation. So keep your stomach clean. And aging also leads to aging of the brain. So if you keep your stomach system clean, you are going to help the brain. And this has choline, which the brain needs. That is going to help it fight dementia and other age-related problems that come about with the brain and also the nerve system. Now, we can also look at PMS and menopause. Fenugreek is also nice for PMS and menopause. So that is 5. Yes, that is all 5 of these guys. They're all together in that one cleanse to do a lot of good stuff. We have everything from balance our blood sugar. Of course, everybody's an anti-inflammatory, but we can take care of our stomach ulcers. We can take care of high blood pressure. We can take care of a lot of things in one bottle. Now, what I got out of it was great cleansing power. And this is the first time I've ever combined a fiber with a chemical cleanser. I love the oxy powder because I'm always worried about doing too much damage to the intestinal tract. It's not that I don't eat fiber, I do my broccoli and my brown rice and kale and arugula and on and on and on. But a little worried about the psyllium husk. This has a little bit of oat powder, but it's gluten-free oat powder and a touch of psyllium in there. If you put that with the oxy powder, you have a cleanse that is just unbelievable. Really unbelievable cleanse. The two should not be used alone. After using these two together, I am blown away. Now let me throw in the last one. Last but not least, and this is what's sad, is that they are no longer going to produce it, is what I'm hearing right now from the store, and they're saying that per the manufacturer, and that is the stabilized oxygen. So the stabilized oxygen, the ABC stabilized oxygen, is the stuff that I said that I had a little experience with using it in its raw form. And it's really, really awesome. So with the stabilized oxygen is needed for everything. You must have oxygen to think properly. You must have oxygen to detox. You must have oxygen to heal. I mean, that's just a touch of all the things that you need oxygen for. So by getting the stabilized oxygen in your body in a concentrated amount, you're able to support a lot of those processes. And this particular conversation is about detoxification. So if you're getting that stabilized oxygen in while you're detoxifying your body, what are you doing? You're helping detoxify the body. You're providing more oxygen to the intestinal system, in which all the bacteria down there are oxygen lovers. So you're helping your intestinal tract. And again, if you help the stomach system, the stomach is known as the second brain, right? So then if you help the stomach, you help the brain. So what did I get out of that stabilized oxygen? Believe it or not, I actually got like a little bit of clarity. I didn't know that I picked up a brain fog. I didn't even know it. But I actually did pick up just a touch, wasn't much, but it really made a difference with the stabilized oxygen. So all three together or just the two, and I really can't say all three together because the word on the street is they're not making it anymore. So that will take us off to other things that we can do instead of the stabilized oxygen. So let's just say, since they're not making that stuff anymore, we're just going to talk about their magnesium, or rather their ozonated magnesium, the Mag-O7, and we're going to talk about their fiber. Those two together, killer cleanse. You got to do it. Thumbs up, high five, 10 out of 10, all the good stuff. Well, that is all my babblings for now. I will get you some more information. Oh yeah, a ton of information is going to be coming. And until next time, guys, well, what was I saying? Eat responsibly, huh? Food's dangerous, and I can definitely attest to that after doing this last trip. I usually live in my little bubble, my little clean food bubble, and everything's okay. But after getting on the road, running into some food, yeah, I got a little sick, and it was really nice. Everything worked out very well to have those cleansers with me, and it cleaned me up really fast, feeling a lot better. So I hope that was helpful, and we'll talk to you again next time. Eat responsibly.